The battleship Maine was doomed to a short life. At its launching, it was considered to be out of date after 9 years of construction. But in November of 1895, it sailed into history, ending up in Havana Harbor 2.5 years later, where it was sank the 15th of February with the loss of 261 U.S. military personnel. There are quite a few memorials across the United States to the USS Maine, including this one in Alpena, Michigan, which I hope to visit someday. One of the most interesting memorials is found in one of the least likely locations, at least according to our current view of the world, here in Havana, Cuba, a city stuck in time and with a different political and philosophical outlook than we're used to here in the United States. This city does enjoy and relish its history and tries to preserve a great deal of its cultural heritage. And here we can find a memorial to the soldiers and sailors who died in the USS Maine explosion. This color tint postcard shows the original monument with 2 Corinthian columns, a pair of the 10-inch guns from the USS Maine, along with some anchor chain, a statue, and a plaque with the names of all of the deceased servicemen, along with an eagle on top. In these newer photos, you can see that the eagle has been removed. This was the result of a protest march after the revolution, when the U.S. interests were removed from Cuba. Then people took down the eagle, and it was damaged. The head was given to the U.S. Embassy, and the body and wings are safely stored in the City Museum in Havana, with the idea that someday relations will be restored between the countries and the eagle will be returned to its rightful place. The Maine rested on the floor of Havana Harbor for 14 years until the U.S. Congress authorized funding for its raising and removal to clear shipping and navigation channels in the harbor in Havana. We can see from this old map the location of the ship and the surrounding infrastructure. Here's some video from our trip to Havana, where I'm walking along the harbor front by the Maine cruise port and shipping dockage. And if I have my information and my pictures, if I'm reading this right, you can see this building from a photograph of the Maine sitting in the harbor. And by my calculations, it would be just out across from where you can see this man standing here, maybe halfway across the bay would have been where it was sitting, sunken. This Google Earth view shows the approximate location of where the Maine sank at, and from this colorized print we can see some telltale landmarks in the background. I believe that the tall building directly to the left of the wreckage would be the Convent of San Francisco in the Viejo neighborhood. The ship was raised by building what they call a coffer dam around it, where the ship is totally enclosed, and then the water inside of the dam is pumped out. The ship is then repaired and refloated as the water flows back in. Almost immediately after the ship was raised, it was towed about 2 miles out into the ocean and scuttled in 3,600 feet of water. During the salvage operations, the remains of 66 more sailors were discovered and brought back to the U.S. to be buried at Arlington Cemetery.